Alright, so I'm pulling the file out. Let's go down here. I'm going to delete this zip file just so I can show you what happens when I make the new one. So pull up the original file just normally in the file folder for assignment 1-2. Should only take a couple seconds. There we go. So it's all pulled out. See, it's got my squares versus the circles. It's got the 6 locations that pull up to like 13 calls. Over here, everything's cool. No exclamation points. Look up here at File. Let's go down to Map Document Properties. Clearly shows that I have the store relative paths, path names to data sources. Click OK because that's already there. We just pulled the file up so we know for sure it was there. Go to Customize, double check this one, ArcMap Options. And that one as well, make relative paths the default for new map documents. So we're going to click OK because that one's already there, so we know for a fact it's like that. Now here's where the trouble comes in. Let's exit out of this. Let's go back a level so we can right click, send to compressed zip folder. The file name's cool. Enter because it's fine. Let's open up that zip file's contents. There it is, assignment 1-2. There's all those same files. And here's that one, the ArcMap. I'm going to double click that, give it a couple seconds to load. And notice blank map, red exclamation point. So what happens is now I'm supposed to repair these paths. So that's the one that I created, the Aaron Street Crimes. So if you go down to Properties, you have to then go to this, Set Data Source, which is supposed to already be there if it was a relative path. So because that data source is still CAD calls, even though I changed it to the blue, I'll click Add, and it says you're attempting to change the data source for this section layer. Pretty much like, am I really sure that I want to do this because it's not going to be exactly the same? And I know that because it's supposed to be different, because CAD calls have red circles or red squares originally, and I need blue squares right there. So I just click yes because I know that I've created it that way. And I click OK, and bam, those blue dots pop up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So I'm going to go over here. So that path is now, it's repaired. So I'm going to do the same thing, Properties, Set Data Source, CAD calls, but this time that'll stay the same. And there's the rest of them, the red dots, Streets, Properties, Set Data Source. Since it's Streets, I'm going to click Streets for this one. Okay, and popped up with the names that I chose because in the assignment it says that it wanted to display just the first names and not the streets themselves. So then we're going to get back over here. I'm going to fix curbs, Properties. I'm going to go Set Data Source. Similar thing to the other ones, we just click curbs for this one because it's curbs. Add. Okay, that just brought that up. Buildings. Properties, Set Data Source. I'm going to click Buildings, go Add. Okay, and so that populated that. And essentially we're already zoomed in on Aaron Street with Davenport, Trent, Webster, and Wiley. And so that's supposed to be what the assignment's supposed to look like. And then I've already, obviously the other files are cool, the JPEG and the XLSX file or whatever it is. It's just these relative paths are messed up. So if I go up here, mind you, this is the new zip file. I showed you the other one that wasn't a zip file to prove that this path was relative, and as is this one. Notice I didn't do anything to that. That was already like that. So it's not the relative path issue. So I click OK. Let's double check on this customize. I'm going to go arc map options, and there that one shows that one's already selected as well. Make relative paths the default for new map documents. And so I've already done the second assignment as well, and I double checked to make sure that that setting was correct, and it's still set like that. So I'm going to click OK. We're going to click exit. It says save changes. What I'm going to do is click yes, just to see if it changes anything for me. So if I save that as assignment 1, Justin Dunaway Perez, to right here, it would force me to override this folder, which isn't. Watch here, let's go back a little further. Let's go local disk C, srepress, GST1, my assignments, chapter 1, assignment 1, 2. Notice that's the same thing, but the zip file is now missing on it. So if I were to, let's say, I don't know, customize this one to just change the name to caps lock ZIP, so it ends in zip, just to differentiate, to show that, you know what I mean, it does have its own identity. It's in this folder like being requested of, but that way it doesn't override this one. And we'll click save. Now let's see what happens if we pull that one up. Let's go in here. There should now be a second file in there with the word zip on it. And voila, it is. So if I pull it up, there's the second one. Here's the original. Just my name. Here's a new one once again. So we're going to double click that one. We're going to pull it up. We're going to see if it pulls up. But because this isn't being pulled out of a zip file, theoretically it should pull up just fine. So we'll find out right now. What I'm going to do after I show whether or not this works is I'm going to re-zip out the file, i.e. delete the new zip file that I just made. Create it. So see, it populates correctly when it's not in the zip file, so that's fine. So I've double checked, that works just like the original one did. It's cool. So let's go back the screen. We're going to delete this zip file, delete this one, and we're going to create a new one just like I showed you guys on camera. Send to compressed zip file, Justin Dunaway Perez.zip. We can accept that name, that's fine. Pull it up, and we've got this new one created. Let's see, properties, make sure this is the newest one at 918. Yeah, this is the one I want, the zip one. So click OK. So we know this is the one we want. We're going to open that one up this time from a zipped file, and we're going to see if it pulls up this time, because we've guaranteed that we know for a fact relative paths are not only set on the individual item, but that all the way into the future. And once again, we have the same exact problem. So I just wanted to clear up that the relative paths is not the issue, because on the YouTube video that taught me how to repair the paths, it said that we could avoid having to repair paths by simply making them relative from the onset. So now that we know for a fact that isn't the problem, I don't know what to tell you guys, but yeah, doing everything I can to help. All right, bye.